Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat po sa Panginoon na tayo'y makapag-aral muli ng kanyang mga salita. At sa ating po magsimula, buksan po natin ating mga Biblia sa aklat po ng Exodus. Exodus chapter 14 verses 10 to 14. Basahin ko po sa wikang Ingles. Verse 10. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid. And the children of Israel cried unto the Lord. And they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt thus with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it hath been better for us to serve the Egyptians, than we should die in the wilderness. Verse 13. And Moses said unto the people, Fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of God, of the Lord, which we will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more. Verse 14, And the Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. At tayo po muna manalangin. Aming dakilang Diyos na mapanas sa lahat, Panginoon, maraming salamat po sa inyong mga salita na aming nabasa, Panginoon. Dalayan ko po, Panginoon, sa pag-aaral po inyong mga salita, dalayan ko po namin may matutunan. Higit sa lahat, Panginoon, ito po yung may apply namin sa aming mga buhay, Panginoon. Gagamitin niyo po, Panginoon, ako bilang bilang channel of blessing, Panginoon, sa lahat po na makikinig. Pansamot dalangin sa dakilang pangalan po, Panginoon Jesus. Amen. Okay? Konting background lang po dito sa ating binasang passage. Ito po ay patungkol sa mga sa people of God. Okay? Yung tinatawag sila yung mga Israelites. Okay? Konting background lang po sa ating passage. Ito po yung time kung saan ang mga Israelites ay pinalaya ni Pharaoh sa pagiging alipin. At ito po ang ating pamagat na ating devotion ngayong araw na ito. God's solution to an impossible situation. Okay? God's solution to an impossible situation. Sometimes we are being caught up between heaven and earth situation, meaning an impossible situation that sometimes we don't know what to do and we just give up. Minsan nandun tayo sa part ng ating buhay, hindi minsan, maaring ngayon, maaring dati, nandun tayo sa ating buhay kung saan sa tingin natin yung problema natin ay imposible nang masolusyonan. Kagaya ngayon, sa tingin natin meron tayong pandemic which is the COVID-19. Maaring iniisip natin napaka-imposibleng bagay na malagpasan natin tong problema na to. Pero wag po tayo mag-alala, merong solution na binigay ang Panginoon para malagpasan natin yung kahit anumang problema na dumating sa atin. Gaya ng ating pamagat, God's solution to impossible situation. And this passage tells us about how Israel overcomes those impossible by the help of God. After Israelites got their freedom, but God still hardened Pharaoh's heart, they found themselves in impossible situation with no means of escape. Okay, nandito nga yung mga Israelita, sila'y pinalaya na ng Ehipto. Ngunit pinatigas ng Panginoon ang puso ni Pharaoh at hinabol pa rin nila ito. At nandito nga ang mga Israelita ay nandun sila sa isang sitwasyon na sa tingin natin ay imposible, na wala ng takas. Bakit? Sa harapan nila, in front of them, nandun yung Red Sea. Red Sea. Sa kanilang likod, nandun yung Egyptian army na humahabol sa kanila. Sa kanilang kaliwa, nandun yung Egyptian forest. Sa kanilang kanan naman, nandun yung rugged mountain range. Sa tingin natin, wala silang lulusutan. Sa harap nila, mayroong Red Sea. Likod, nandun yung mga army. Sa kaliwa, nandun yung fortress ng Egyptians. Higit sa lahat, sa kanan, bulubundukin na napakahirap tumakas sapagkat nasa likod lang nila ang Egyptian army. Okay? And it seems that they have only two choice. Sa tingin nila, mayroon lang silang dalawang choice. Ano ba yon? Una, tumalikod at kalabanin ang Egyptian army. Ikalawa, lumangoy sa Red Sea. Pero parehas doon sila ay mamamatay. Okay? At this event, at this point of time, God taught us a lesson on how to respond to an impossible situation. At dito sa sitwasyon na to, binigyan tayo ng Panginoon ng kanyang mga salita or kung paano natin susolusyonan kapag tayo nasa isang impossible situation. God's solution to an impossible situation. Una, our response should be, first, recognize God has a purpose in our situation. Sabi dito sa verse 13. Basahin ko verse 13. Exodus 14, verse 13. And Moses said unto people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. Sa verse 13. Most of the time, we don't recognize the purpose of God in our life. Kagaya ng mga Israel, hindi nila naalala yung purpose ng Panginoon. Ano ba yung purpose? Bakit ba nawala hindi nila nakita yung purpose na yun? Bakit? Kasi nandun sila sa isang impossible situation. Una agad pumasok sa kanila, sila ay natakot. They were afraid. Verse 10. Sabi dito, and they were sore afraid. Hindi lang yun, hindi lang sila natakot. Sunod, sila ay nagalit. Verse 11, and they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, thou hast taken us away to die in the wilderness, wherefore thou hast dealt as with us to carry out forth out of Egypt. Nagalit sila, sabi nila, dito na lang ba kami mamatay? Sabi, hindi lang yun. Una, natakot sila, nagalit sila, at ikatlo, they want to be alone. Gusto na nila mag-isa, ayaw nilang sumunod kay Moses. Verse 12, sabi doon, is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone? Okay? Nakalimutan nila yung purpose ng Panginoon. Tandaan natin, God's plan are not always logical. Yan. God's plan don't always make sense to us. God doesn't do the things the way we do. God doesn't think the same way we think. God is wiser, smarter, stronger, and greater than you and I would never hope to be. Okay? Yun nga, ang purpose ng Panginoon is, ano ba? Sila ay makalaya kay Pharaoh or sa Egyptians. Pero nakalimutan nila yung purpose na yon. At pumasok sa kanila yung una, yung fear. Kalawa, galit, angry. Katlo, pagiging mag-isa or alone. Okay? There always a time to everything. We just need to understand that in every event or situation that we are right now, God has a purpose on it, and it is not by accident. Okay? Una, God's solution to impossible situation, we need to recognize God has a purpose in our situation. Okay? The purpose of God is to teach both Egyptians and Israelites how great He is, and also that we need to put our complete trust and faith unto Him. Ikalawa, first, we need to recognize God has a purpose in our situation. Ikalawa. Second, regain God's perspective on our situation. Ano ba yung perspective? Okay? Yung mga Israelita kasi nawala yung kanilang perspective. Bakit? They panic. They panic because they lost their perspective on the situation. Ay nakalimutan nila yung ano yung ginawa ng Panginoon sa kanila. Una, pinoprotektahan sila ng Panginoon from the 10 plagues na nangyari sa kanila. Ikalawa, God had spared their firstborn son from death. Hindi namatay yung kanilang mga firstborn. Katlo, God secured their release from the Egyptians. Nakalimutan nila yung pangako ng Panginoon, yung perspective ng Panginoon sa kanila. Sometimes we are too focused on our problems that we don't see how God is working on us. Okay, minsan nakatingin tayo dun sa problema, hindi dun sa kung ano yung magagawa ng Panginoon para sa atin. Okay? Example dito is si Peter. Si Peter, nung nandun siya sa bangka, ang sabi niya ay yun siya ay naglakad sa tubig. Una, nakapaglakad siya sa tubig, pero nung nakita niya yung malaking alon, malakas na hangin, unti-unti siyang lumubog. At dahil doon, nawala yung perspective na yung kaniyang pananampalataya sa Panginoon, kung kaya't lumubog siya. Okay? If you don't know what to do what you know. Have faith. Yun nga ang sabi ng ating pastor. If you don't know what to do what you know. Okay? When we see impossibilities, God sees possibilities. When we see obstacles, God sees opportunities. When we see darkness, God sees daylight. Okay? Instead of having the eyes of fear, we need to have the eyes of faith. Okay? We need to find ourselves in an impossible. Okay? When we find ourselves into an impossible situation, first, we need to recognize God as a purpose. Second, we need to regain God's perspective in our situation. And lastly, we need to rely on God's promises in our situation. Okay? Kailangan natin mag-rely dun sa pangako ng Panginoon. Okay? Ano ba yung mga pangako ng Panginoon? Pangako ng Panginoon dun sa Israelita. Okay? Tingnan natin sa verse 13. Sabi dito, and Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will shew to you today. For the Egyptians, whom ye have seen today, ye shall not see them again no more forever. Unang pangako ng Panginoon. Sabi doon, the salvation of the Lord. Yung kaligtasan ng Panginoon sa verse 13. Unang pangako. Ikalawang pangako sa Israelita, the Egyptians, ang mga Egyptians daw, you will never see again after today. Hindi nila makikita ang mga Egyptians. Yun ang pangako ng Panginoon. At ikatlo, sabi dun sa verse 14, the Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Okay? Ang Panginoon na makikipaglaban sa iyo. Okay? Pag nandun tayo sa isang imposibleng bagay, tingin natin, hindi na natin kaya lang pasan, we need to rely on God's promises. May pangako ang Panginoon sa atin. Sabi nga ng Biblia, so the Lord shall fight for you, and he shall hold your peace. Hindi lang 'yun. Sabi doon, yung he will never leave you nor forsake you. Sabi ng Bible. Okay? Sabi doon, if God is for us, who can be against us? Okay? If God is with you, is there any enemy who can defeat you? Okay? Sabi nga ng Romans 8:28, all things work together for good. Okay? Tandaan din natin yung sabi ng Bible, for with God nothing shall be impossible. Okay? Stop saying, stop complaining kung nandun tayo sa bagay na meron tayong problema or sitwasyon na napakahirap. Okay? Kailangan lang natin tandaan yung solution ng Panginoon. Ano ba yung God's solution to impossible situation? Una, we need to recognize God's purpose in our situation. Ikalawa, we need to regain God's perspective on our situation. At ikatlo, we need to rely on God's promises in our situation. Okay, mga kapatid, the God we are serving is the God of possibilities. Okay, kagaya yun ang sabi ng Luke 1:37. Yun lamang po at maraming salamat. At tayo po yung manalangin sa ating pagtatapos. Aming dakilang Diyos, sa mapanarad sa lahat, maraming salamat po sa inyong mga salita namin ang pakinggan. Tunay nga pong minsan nandun kami sa isang problema na tingin namin na imposible sa amin, pero sa inyo, Panginoon, ito'y posible, Panginoon. At walang bagay na hindi nyo kayang gawin sa amin, Panginoon. Tunay nga po na dapat lang namin matandaan ang inyong pangako na hindi nyo kami iiwan ni pababayaan, Panginoon. Panginoon, gagabayin nyo po kami sa pandemic na ito at kayo pong patuloy magagabay sa amin sa pang-araw-araw. Samot dalangin sa dakilang pangalan po ng Panginoon Jesus. Amen.